Welcome to the Mom Entrepreneur Success Podcast with Mariana C. Ruiz, the podcast for the go-getter mom entrepreneur who refuses to let motherhood slow her down from achieving success and making an impact. Tune in Mondays to learn the success secrets of top influencers who also happen to be moms so that you can reach the success, freedom, and impact you desire.
Ready to create success on your terms, mom entrepreneur? Head on over to marianacruiz.com/success to download your copy of the game plan. It's a step-by-step process to get you results and enjoy every step of the journey. Because as mom entrepreneurs, it's about designing a business around our lives and not the other way around. Plus, I also walk you through areas where you might get stuck to help you avoid the pitfalls that so many of us have to go through. So head on over to marianacruiz.com to get your copy now. Welcome to the Mom Entrepreneur Success Podcast. Today, I'm so excited to share our very special guest, Jennifer Scott. She is a mindset, strategy, and biz coach who helps high-achieving solopreneurs create a business and life that they love. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Hello, Mariana. It's so great to be here. I'm just thrilled. It's awesome.
Thank you. It's so awesome to connect again. And I am so excited to share your message with my audience because I love the work you're doing, especially the mindset stuff. So if you could just start with sharing with everybody a little bit about you and how you got where you are.
Yeah, so I'm a teacher by trade, and I was in a high level six-figure sales position. So I kind of jumped around a little bit, and realized that through that there was always felt like there was a bit of a ceiling over top of me that I couldn't quite shake. You know, an income ceiling, even though I was paid really well, an income ceiling. A travel ceiling, a holiday ceiling, a time ceiling. So I just got really honest with myself that I had the spirit of an entrepreneur, specifically a solopreneur, and that it was time for me to listen to that. And I left my six-figure job to help other people do the same thing. Other women and solopreneurs do the same thing. The spirit of the solopreneur who just really wants to live a life of freedom and on their own terms and sort of craft and make their schedule and business meaningful to them in the way that they want to live their life.
Yes, that's so important. And I think so many of us have that little fire that we sort of put off sometimes because it's just not the normal, right? Everybody else around us is going through their 9 to 5 and going to school and climbing the corporate ladder. And I love the way that you felt that was a calling. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it was like this itch that I couldn't ever quite scratch, right? It was that I had to just go see what I could do. I had to go, it sounds so corny, but like spread my wings and like see if I could fly. But it really is true. I needed to take the challenge of seeing if I could make this huge dream of mine come true. The other thing that happened in more of my personal life was I had transformed a couple things in my life. Like I was, riddled with panic and anxiety disorder that I have managed to completely sort of heal and transform out of. And my love relationship was a mess and I totally was able to transform that as well. We're talking a span of over 20 years, not like last year. So what happened too is I realized that, wow, I am a powerful creator and I really do create the world I see, as do we all. And going through those personal challenging times, but then triumphing over them as well, led me to realize that while we are master manifestors, and I wanted to see if I could make it work in my business too. So there was a personal, can I also manifest my word create this as well, my successful business?
Yes, I love that. And I love, when we've talked before, you've also told me, whether you're intentionally manifesting or not, you're manifesting. So
Exactly.
I love that you talk about creating the life that you want and in all aspects. And I think you had a pretty big physical weight loss transformation as well.
Yes, that was another one. Is my health one. I lost 90 pounds through applying all of these same strategies. And I should clarify here: the strategies that I talk about with manifesting it's not, or creating, is you need action and mindset. So you can't just like think your way and visualize your way to the healthy body. You actually have to get off the couch too, right? So visualization is super important in creating what you want, but so is taking action. So that's the whole idea of the mindset and the strategy coming together.
Yes, I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So can you walk us a little bit through maybe a little bit about the manifesting? Is it like you just visualize it and then it happens and you take action? Like, can you just walk people through it who are like newbies, like completely are not sure exactly what to do?
Yeah, for sure. So the first step always, and you just mentioned it as well, is the first step is to realize that you are creating what you see. This can be a really tough place for somebody. I mean, lots of people can go their whole life and just still stay in that victim idea that it's happening to them. So that person's doing it to them, or that situation's doing it to them. And it's the very first step in manifesting is taking what I call radical responsibility for yourself and realizing that you are already creating what you see. Yes, the bad stuff. Yes, the stuff you don't want to experience. Yes, those relationships, because the only 100% truth is that the common denominator in all your situations is you. So there's got to be a connection there somehow. And that's the first step, is taking that responsibility to say, okay, I am creating the world that I see, and it's time for me now to start to become an intentional creator. So nobody has to learn how to be a manifester. We already manifest, but there is skill and learning that needs to happen to be a conscious manifester or a conscious creator. And then the next step would be that you start to get in touch with, and it's like an investigation where you realize that, wow, the thoughts that I think really are creating my experiences. And so then you go from that into, wow, what thoughts are actually going to create the experience I want to see? And then it becomes literally a breaking down of the old habits, the thoughts that do not serve you anymore and are creating the opposite, and just really revving up the positive thoughts that are in alignment with what you are wanting to create. So manifesting, I was actually going to do a Facebook Live on this week. Manifesting is like a key part of creating a successful business. And it's not because it's a woo-woo thing that you need to sort of sit down and cross your legs and close your eyes for, an hour a day. It's literally the idea that your thoughts are creating your experiences. So you need to have success mindset thoughts to create this successful business.
Yes. Okay. That makes so much sense. And I love this work. Like, I think it's so interesting. And as somebody who was like really science-based for my whole life, this kind of threw me for a loop. But once I started to see it and actually experience it myself and notice and take notice, if for anybody listening, there's a book called E Squared. Is that correct?
Yes, so good. E Squared. I have it right beside me, actually.
Yeah, that book was life-changing for me. It was one of those books that really got me into like seeing it and actually experimenting with it in my own life so I could have some concrete evidence, because I'm very scientific, like I said. So
yes. Yeah, E Squared and E Cubed, two brilliant books. Yes.
Yeah. So how do you feel that I'm going to just switch gears and start talking about motherhood and business together with mom. How has being a mom impacted your business?
Well, I mean, I think it's like the cornerstone of everything, right? And I would say, mom / family there, right? It's the idea of running a household, running a family. And yes, my partner helps me with that as well. But it's both of us, whether he goes to his job or I do my work. I mean, we're always considering and thinking about the running of the family, right? And so being an entrepreneur, I really have this sense of this strong pull to be able to have more flexible time to be with my kids when I wanted to. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a mom that wants to spend all my time with my kids. Like, are you kidding me? I'm counting the days till they go back to school right now. But I do want to be able to volunteer in their classroom. I did want to be able to help out at the school. I did want to be able to be home when they came home. So all those things that I wanted to be around for, I saw at being an entrepreneur was a way to be able to do that. So that was probably the biggest reason that I became like being a mom and an entrepreneur.
Yeah. And I think that's like one of the things that really draws people into wanting to pursue this on their own is the flexibility and the freedom.
Yes, exactly.
And what does success mean to you? Like because you've accomplished so much. You've lost 90 pounds, you've overcome panic, anxiety, you've overcome, and I guess manifested this beautiful love relationship and a business. And I think any one of us could look at any of those things and be like, oh my gosh, she's just so successful. So what does success mean to you?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I mean, that's pretty much the first question I ask all my clients that I work with now, right? And I would say for me, success means that you have a burning desire and you are now experiencing it for real in your life.
So it could be in any area.
Exactly, yeah. If you want to lose weight, you've now worked and manifested and strategized and got you to the point where you are experiencing the weight loss now, the love relationship now, the money now, the freedom lifestyle now. So you had a desire that always starts as a thought. That is the first manifestation. The desire is the first manifestation of it actually becoming into this world. So get excited about that. Like there's a quadrillion thoughts we could have, probably more. Why are you having that one desire, right? That's a manifestation. That's a start. And so then it's about following, the journey of that desire coming to reality. That for me is once it's in reality and it's now a thing, that I have succeeded. That was what success is for me.
Yeah. And I think you're kind of talking about one piece that I want to just extract from that. And that is like, if you have this desire, you've had it for a reason and you are automatically worthy of it. Can you talk about that for a minute? Because I love the way that you talk about that.
Well, yeah, no, and that's really great that you pulled that out there. I'm a student from A Course in Miracles, so I have that's sort of I don't even know what you call it, but that's sort of the spiritual connection or book or whatever that it helps me and on my spirituality. And where I get that from is actually a very concrete teaching in the Course in Miracles, which is you have at any time two thoughts or two choices, the fear track or the love track. And it's not saying love like romantic love. I mean, that can include it, but they mean like all the feelings, thoughts, ideas that feel good, that are in alignment with love and feeling wellness and whole and all those good things. And so the feel good thoughts, the loving thoughts are what's real, and the fear is the illusion, right? That false evidence appearing real. And so when I read this in the Course in Miracles, I mean, you can hear it in a number of different ways, but it just really, really resonated with me. And then that's when I saw that your desire is a feel good thing. Like desires don't feel bad. They feel very good. They feel exciting. They feel fun. Like the more you get into them and really spend some time with them, they're wonderful. And so I realized that that's the truth. If the teachings that the feel good, the loving thoughts, the loving experience is the truth, then that means your desires are what's real, not the fear thoughts that are telling you not to go for it, not the fear thoughts that are wanting to hold you back and keep you playing small. It's the desire thoughts are the ones to trust and go after.
Yes, that is so powerful.
Yeah, it's fun too, hey?
Yeah, it is so fun.
Isn't that fabulous news that, wow, I can trust the part of me that wants that stuff. Okay, this is kind of cool. And that sort of also begins that inner guide connection, right? Which I'm going off a little bit here, but I call also my business partner. Is that part of you that wants the desire, that wants to help people, that wants to be at home with your kids, you know, whatever it is for you. There's a part of you that you can call on, and I call it my biz partner, my business, where I can be like, hey, what's the best way for me to get at this? Like, if this is the desire I want, can you help me see the quickest, easiest, fastest path to this as well?
Yeah. And if somebody is struggling to like really tune into that inner voice, or like, you know, I feel like just the way society is and the way that many of us are brought up, we're just like so far away from being able to even sit there and listen to that. So what can you, like, how can people start to become familiar with that inner voice?
You know, I will say, especially for who I would think your audience would be, the easiest and best resource, if they really truly want to be like, I want to kind of get more in touch with this and figure this all out and see, go grab Gabrielle Bernstein's Spirit Junkie book. That is such an easy read. She's, for those of you who don't know Gabrielle Bernstein, I mean, she's a woman in her later 30s now, but she's been a spiritual teacher from New York in her 20s and her 30s. She's really cool. And she just really can bring this idea of connecting what she calls the inner guide in a really lighthearted, great, powerful way. So that's the first step I always say is grab Spirit Junkie, because it's so easy to read and laid out for you. And then the next part is, this is sort of like just where you'd find this advice in any book that's kind of trying to teach you to get in touch with yourself, is spend some time with yourself. Spend some time with yourself. So as a busy mom, and I mean, I remember you and I having a lot of great conversations around that. As a busy mom, it's tough to find like 5 minutes, never mind, 30 minutes or 2 hours, or the idea of going to a yoga class, or, it sounds like a luxury sometimes to just connect within. So it's understanding that 5 minutes is enough. If that's what you can do, 10 minutes is enough. Going into the washroom and like closing your eyes and like taking a break and just breathing into the now is enough. And that is, for the starting place, was for me, is for pretty much anyone I've ever heard talk about their own development, is the starting place of getting further connected with that inner guide that we all have.
Yeah. And I literally, like, I had previously meditated, but when I became a mom, like, all that went out the window, and I no longer had, hours on end or any of that. So I had to literally go back to 5 minutes a day, and just being able to sit in silence or with like a little bit of, background music. But definitely there were days where I had to make it a priority, and that meant like my husband was watching the kids and I was in the bathroom, like with the door locked.
For 5 minutes. And it's amazing too, what a consistent 5 minutes every day can achieve though. Like it's crazy when you do a week, just commit to a week of 5 days, 5 minutes every day, and you'll be amazed at the end of that 7 days how much calmer and centered and connected you feel.
Yeah, totally. And it makes just a huge difference in how you show up, I think, in your business, but as a mom especially, because when you take care of yourself, you can really give a lot more to your kids and you're just so much more patient.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next question I wanted to ask you was there anything along your journey as an entrepreneur that you wish you knew a little bit sooner and that you're willing to share with our listeners today?
Yes, I quit my job way too early.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one thing that I could say. I mean, it's all good now and it's all behind me and it's worked out the way it needed to. But for sure, I'd say my soapbox is for new entrepreneurs coming onto the scene, moms, if you have a part-time job, if you have an income that eases, like that soothes some of the financial pressures in your family, don't be so quick or don't be too quick to leave that, to abandon that, because we underestimate how difficult it is at the beginning as an entrepreneur to get your business going, generate income, get yourself out there, figure out your message. I mean, yada, yada, yada. There's a time that needs to be invested where you're not getting a lot or any money back, right? You're in there, you're showing up, you're doing your thing over and over and over and over and over again. So in my situation, I left a part-time job I could have held on to for a little longer. In the big scheme, it's not a huge deal, but I remember back then thinking, okay, I would not have to be doing all this extra mindset work if I had just kept that part-time job for a little longer.
That is a great lesson. And I think too, it's a struggle. I mean, I think people don't talk enough about the ups and downs, right? And that it really is, it can be some ease. Yes, you can reach your goals in some fashion, but it's not always up and up and up. And, as your business grows, you're going to have expenses. You're going to have to hire people to help you. It's, yes, you're bringing in more money, but there's also going to be more expenses as well. So running a business that's 6 figures does not mean that you take home that much money.
Exactly. And the other thing too is when you leave, for people that leave a 6-figure job with all those skills, and I mean, that's what my story was. I did go down to part-time. So I didn't just I had built my business up to probably a part-time level, but some people leave their 6-figure jobs and just wonder why they are not making 6 figures, and that's just not the way it works, right? It does come, and it's great when it does, and you put a lot of time in before, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So is there anything, a couple of things that you do every day to stay on top of your game?
Yes. Yeah. I meditate every day, and I find some way. And so this can, sometimes I meditate and just sit there and just focus on my breath coming in and out, or I'll listen to a meditation CD or whatever I feel like. But I at some point in my meditation connect with the feelings of what I would experience when my desire comes to life. So that's really what visualizing is. So when people say oh, you have to visualize what you want, you have to visualize what you want. What you're visualizing is when you get the thing you want, right? Whether it's money or a relationship or a successful business or more freedom with your family, when you get that thing, how's that thing going to make you feel? And that's the visualization you want to get into. right? So you want to picture what you're doing with that money, or picture what you're doing with that extra time with your family. I mean, maybe that's even having extra time for yourself, but like whatever it is for you, and it gets that good feeling going, that's what you want to do. So I would say for my personal practice, it's focusing in on a time to be kind of like calm and silent and connect within, and ask for guidance. I always ask for guidance. Like, what would you have me do today? Who would you have me talk to? Just tune into that. And then also just letting myself be present in the moment, and then making sure that I connect with whatever manifestation goal I'm working on. I connect with the feelings that I think that thing of having it will give to me.
Okay, so for visualizing, I think we need to rename it feelizing.
Oh my God, you think you just coined something. That's brilliant.
But yeah, like getting into the feeling.
That is very good. Awesome. Feelizing. Here first, everyone. Feelizing.
I love that. Okay, so to stay on top of your game, you visualize through feelings everything that you're desiring to achieve.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And then throughout the day, right? Because those feelings lead to thoughts. I mean, I don't bother getting into an argument or whatever, not an argument, but worrying about what's first, the thought or the feeling generates a thought, yada, 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 whatever. Thoughts create things in your life. They create your experiences. So the feelings create the thought. And then what happens is you're having these thoughts as you're in your visualization. And so since it's law that thoughts become things, it's like gravity, right? You will start to experience the evidence of the thoughts becoming things in your life. So what I do is I spend time watching and being aware of all the evidence and the signs in my life that my thoughts are becoming things. And that builds the momentum of me getting to a place where I actually have the thing in my life now. It's like so many little evidences have now like come together like a snowball that I got a gigantic snowman now, which is my thing that I was working on manifesting.
Yeah, because I feel like if we miss this step, we're like missing a really critical step in acknowledging and being open to receiving whatever it is we want.
100%. And I would say that is one of probably the main things I work with my clients as a business coach on, is the idea that they're doing all this work, they're doing all these visibility, all this hustling, all this time spent, and then they're wondering why they don't have this. And this is the huge thing, like, consistent 5K months and plus, or, a huge email list or whatever it is that they're working on, right? But that's not what's happened. What's happening is the universe is totally bringing you and showing you all the stuff. You're just missing all the steps. You're missing the 100 people that were on your email list that you got. You're missing that 60 people showed up for your challenge. You're missing that you got 2 opportunities to talk to clients on the phone, potential clients on the phone, right? And what happens is, instead of noticing those wins as all being in alignment with the evidence that your business is happening, is we get down on ourselves or frustrated because it wasn't, 300 people on our email list, or 500 people on our challenge, or 10 monthly clarity calls, or whatever it is, right?
Yes. That is really good and so important.
Mm-hmm. What is the evidence that your business is working now? And anybody that has a like or says that was great, or signs up for those are all evidence. So you just got to keep kind of going and focusing on that, because we go back to the beginning of what I said. It's your thoughts, and what you focus on expands.
Yeah, and I want to say, because this is something you said like a few months back, and it was like so real to me when I was first starting, and that was like, you said, like, literally you're going to post and it's going to be like 1 like, that's okay. Like, that's still evidence, right?
Still evidence. If
So,
you go 90 days posting regularly and you don't get a like, okay, then maybe you need to take a look at messaging.
yes, exactly. But all of that is evidence, and it is something that is showing you that it's working. And so when you're first starting out, really look at that evidence. I think that's a really good takeaway point there.
Yes. Yeah.
Can you talk about a struggle, challenge, or quote unquote failure that you experienced in your business and how you overcame it?
Oh my gosh, this is such a great question, but I feel like there's a lot of big struggles and challenges and failures. So this is how I'll sum it up. Is for me, and I feel like even with talking with them, and I'm the mindset coach on Jen Scalia's team, so I know her personally, her story as well. I know it was like this for her and some other really great coaches for them as well, is that it doesn't happen fast. It doesn't happen fast. And when I say it doesn't happen fast, I'm talking about, I'd say it's when from the moment you get really clear on what you're doing, not like the stage where you're kind of floundering around and thinking about doing this job or whatever, but when you get really clear, like, this is what I'm doing, I'm going after it, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, you really sort of start to learn how you have to do that and go for it. I'd say it's like an 18-month journey. And what makes it shorter or longer, and not an 18-month journey till like you're a millionaire, like an 18-month journey till, you've got a good income and you feel like things are moving and now you can get into a place where you can really build and scale your business, is what makes that time frame longer or shorter is how much you start and stop yourself during that time. So how much you go really hard and get super excited about a new strategy or a new coach or a new program or a new whatever, and you go it and you do it, and then it just doesn't have the results that you think you're supposed to be experiencing, which usually comes from false sort of marketing and advertising. That stuff happens super fast, that you stop yourself. And then you spend a bunch of time swirling around in self-doubt and it's not working, and you slow yourself down. I call it the start, stop cycle. The reason I know that cycle is because I was the queen of it. The only way I was able to coin it is because I experienced it personally. And that for me overall, I would sum up as my big struggle or challenge that I got through is I never did stop. I kept going. I kept believing in my dream, but I did have a wake up call and moment where it was like, okay, it is hard. This is hard. I do have to hustle. I have to work my butt off. This isn't just like a luxury laptop lifestyle yet. Like, I have to work here. And so when I got clear on that, I was able to just go for it and just stay focused. And that overcoming that challenge was the biggest one for me.
Yeah, I think that is so important. And I think too, like, it's like they say, like, nobody's an overnight success, or like an overnight success, like 10 years in the making. And you even talked about in the beginning that the things you overcame were like over the course of 20 years. So like overnight success, 20 years in the making, right?
Exactly.
And whatever you've experienced, to the listeners out there, right? Whatever you've experienced is what's brought you here where you are today. And that's all still part of you going towards where you're trying to be. It's not overnight. It's you bring all that with you. You don't just start from zero.
Right. Exactly. And the faster we just accept that, that's truly the faster, our business starts to actually kind of show up and really take form, is when we just give ourselves space and time to build the business, to build it.
Yeah. That is so powerful.
And when you look back at it too, I mean, then it's so funny because then you get through it and you're like, okay, that was actually only like 18 months. Like, really? That wasn't even that wasn't that long. Right? But when you're in it, you're like, oh my gosh, like this is a lifetime.
Yeah. And that's like pretty much to a T. Like I started my first online business as a health coach 18 months before I made, my 5-figure month. Like,
Yeah.
it was like, and I was in a totally different field, right? And rechanging my messaging and who I was targeting. Like it's so evolving in the first year. It's just, and it's not overnight, right? Like there were skills, there were things that I brought that were from different fields, but it did help me. And so like, I think another thing I'm just really feeling called to say here is like, it doesn't matter what your background is. Those skills apply to being an entrepreneur in some way, shape, or form. You just have to acknowledge and accept them, and see that they do apply. Even being a mom, that does apply.
100%. Yes.
Everything applies.
Yeah. Everything applies. And as an entrepreneur, and specifically like a solopreneur, I mean, it's just you and your business, you are bringing all of you to that. It's not compartmentalized like it is when you say you go to an office job or, your career that you go to from 9 to 4. When you're a solopreneur, that's all of you all of the time. So yes, every experience you've had is part of how powerful and successful you can be as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think like going into this a little bit more, let's say you had to start all over again, Jen, and you had no business, no team, no email list, no connections. You had 3 hours a week and $5,000. What would you do to get some traction here in a business?
This is such a good question. And I'm really glad you're asking it to if it's for most of your guests or if it's a generic question, but it's such a great one. And because there's that hindsight piece, right? And so what I would do is I would set up a blog or a vlog. If you like to use your voice on audio or video or whatever. If you don't like to type, that's fine. So an audio, vlog, video, or typewritten blog, I would set that up. I wouldn't even necessarily worry about a super fancy website. And I would start talking about my message. I would just start talking about what it is that I do and what I think and what I'm what my niche is. And then I would think about who the people are that are in my niche and the problem that they're trying to solve. And what is all the different ways that I could teach them to solve that problem? Because that's your content. That's what your content is. And then I would start writing about it, blogging about it, talking about it. And at the bottom of every single blog I do, I would have an opportunity to book a clarity call with me or a discovery call or assessment or whatever the heck you want to call it, like get people on the phone. And that would be my main way. And I would try to get guest blogs. Even podcasts is good too, getting podcasts. And I would just be blasting out the opportunity to talk and connect with me. And with my $5,000, $5,000 at the very beginning, what would I do? I would probably invest it in getting a nice opt-in set up. So maybe through I wouldn't spend a ton of money, like go hire a super fancy graphic designer or anything, like a good VA, somebody who's can make nice graphics and opt-ins. And I would promote, maybe use some Facebook ads to get my list building, my email list building.
So all $5,000 will be Facebook ads and an opt-in?
Well, maybe not Facebook ads. Like $5,000. I would hire a coach. The only reason I'm hesitating on that right now is because the thing that I get nervous about for people at the beginning is what coach they hire. Even though it's not my responsibility to manage that, so that's why I'm like, okay, I would hire a coach, but just do your research around who you hire. Do you know what I mean? Like make sure, like talk to past clients, like make sure they really know how to take a newbie or a beginner through with the first stages. And if they are telling you that you're going to be making, multiple 5-figure months and all this great stuff in 90 days, like run for the hills.
I am so happy you said that.
I always feel like, oh my gosh, here we go. Jennifer's going to say, but
that's what I want to bring is like the truth, right?
Yeah,
like,
so
that is the truth.
Coach, but oh man, would I be doing my research now with my hindsight? And I guess my resistance is when you're first starting out, which is part of the question, you don't have all that hindsight, right? So the takeaway piece is invest it in a way that's going to get your name out there, your message out there. You're not like get people in front of you, because that's what your whole business is based on, is how many people you have access to promote your product, which is, if your product's yourself, then it's yourself, right?
Yeah. So we would get visible, we would get some accountability with like a quality coach. There. Yes. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then the 3 hours a day would be like creating content and continuing to get visible.
Oh, you only had 3 hours a day part. Okay, I missed that. Yes, definitely creating content. Definitely. Definitely creating content. 100%.
And talking to people on the phone.
And talking to people. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so is there anything else that I have not asked you that you would want to share with other moms to help them reach that next level of success in their business?
Yeah, I would spend some time defining, like go back to even what we did at the beginning here, and define what success means for you first, right? Is define what success means for you. And get really like clear on that. Is the success that you can relieve some of the financial pressure on your partner? Okay, that's great. Is it so that you can be at home with your kids more? That's great. Is it so that you can maybe get away from your family and be able to use your brain on something different? I mean, that's really important for a lot of moms too, right? Is to be able to use their gifts and talents and brain for building their business, right? So get really clear on what success means for you. And then be wary of the shiny object syndrome, which is like all the stuff that sort of promises you the quick payout, because that will take you on a journey of, it'll actually take longer for you. Look for good quality coaches, good quality people that you resonate with their message, follow them, get your content out there, and just keep plugging away at it. And eventually you will have a business in front of you. If you stay consistent and you stay on task, you will. You will.
I'm so happy that you mentioned shiny object syndrome, because I see that. Like, I see that in people, and I think it's worthy to hit that in here for a minute. But like, if you're working with a coach and you're off on 20 shiny objects, like there's no way that you're gonna advance, right? Like, focus on a game plan and focus. Like, take that game plan, run with it, and focus.
Yes, exactly. And immerse yourself in that learning at that time. Mm-hmm. Immerse yourself in that learning at that time. You don't need to be working with a coach and then go over here and get a course on launches and like all this. No. Don't work with your coach, right? If you've invested in a program, like a course, do the course, start something, finish it, then move on and decide what you're learning. One of the most exciting things about being an entrepreneur, that when you do start to generate some money and you have some money to sort of like play with, is it's like, wow, what do I want to invest in myself this year? Right? So now then it becomes fun. Like, you never stop really investing in yourself and your growth as an entrepreneur. It's just that you as you grow and learn and get to know yourself more, you can start to see what it is that each year you might want to invest in.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said it that way too. Like, you can kind of make a projection or like a plan around what your learning is going to be, like not just whatever marketing message lands on your table that day, but actually, what skills do I want to work on? Like, what is it that I want to do?
Yep, exactly. And what works within my family. And do you know what I mean? Like, I might really want to do a retreat in Bali, but maybe that isn't really realistic or reasonable for my family situation. So, you kind of have to balance that too with what's going on around you.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. So how can people find out more about you? And I know you have a special gift for everybody. So if you could mention all of those things.
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch with me probably is jenniferscottcoaching.com, or even at my Facebook group, The Creation Corner is a great place to come hang out. And the opt-in that I want to, or the special gift that I want to give everybody is my client attraction guide. It's a 30-day workbook and guide where I show you exactly how to change your thoughts of, needing more clients and getting more clients and, oh my gosh, there's no clients and all that crazy making into alignment with how do you develop thoughts, belief, and habits to actually attract those clients into your life. So that is what I have to share for everyone.
Where can they get it?
They can get it. I actually have a link available. So is it easier somewhere to put this to give to you, or?
Yeah, we can put it in the show notes for sure.
It's actually a really new one. So what am I talking about? My team has put it up on my website. So go to my website. There you go. It's on my website.
Okay, awesome. And we'll definitely link up to your website and the freebie in the show notes.
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. So jenniferscottcoaching.com, and that's the free gift when you come to my website.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been such a
blast. And your listeners are so lucky to have such an authentic, powerful, gracious person like you leading them. Like, you're the real deal, and it's a pleasure for me to come on here and support that. So awesome.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on, Jennifer.
You're welcome.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mom Entrepreneur Success Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, because next week I have another great episode for you. It's my friend Laura Brandenburg, and we're going to be talking about generating passive income in your business and what that would look like for you, especially for the ones that are just starting out. So if that's you, if you're in your first year or two of business and you're starting to look at scaling and what that would look like, stick around. Make sure you hit subscribe right now, because that episode is really, really good. And I'll see you next week. You've been listening to the Mom Entrepreneur Success Podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Head on over to iTunes and leave us a rating and review. By reviewing the show, it allows us to reach more moms to help them grow their businesses. So head on over there, leave us an honest rating, and I can't wait to catch up with you there. By the way, every single week, I'm going to select one winner who leaves a review, and you'll be able to get a free strategy session with me in this 20-minute laser-focused session. You'll get the information that you need to move your business to the next level of success that you desire. Have an awesome day.